Oh man, I'm so glad to finally talk to you guys about Cash App. I've been using Cash App forever, and now I get to talk to you guys about it. Don't worry, it's very easy, fast to sign up. Do you even know how much interest your money is earning you in your bank account right now? Well, let me tell you some stuff. Cash App can do way more than you think to make your money work for you. If you direct deposit at least $300 in paychecks each month and use the Cash App card for purchases, you can earn up to 4% annual interest on your savings. There's no hidden fees, no minimum balance requirements. Also, you can hit your saving goals even faster by turning on the Roundups feature on your Cash App card. With Roundups, every purchase you make using the card is rounded up to the nearest dollar, and that spare change is automatically put into your savings. Don't let your money sit around and gather dust. Make it work for you. Take advantage of high interest savings on Cash App today. For a limited time only, new Cash App customers can use our exclusive code and earn some additional cash. For real, just download the Cash App, use our exclusive referral code, Kristian, in your profile, send $5 to a friend. Within 14 days, you're going to get $10 dropped right into your account. Terms apply. That's money. That's Cash App. Cash App is a financial service platform, not a bank. Banking services provided by Cash App's bank partner. Prepaid debit cards issued by Sutton Bank, members FDIC, direct deposit, roundups, overdraft coverage, and discounts provided by Cash App, a Block Inc. brand. Visit cash.app/legal/podcast for full disclosure. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm excited. A couple months ago, I had my good buddy on the show. He's been on many times, but he kind of soft teased something the last time he was on. He said, when I have something to discuss, your audience and you will like this. And he's right. I did. I knew it immediately, and I refer to this man as Midas, and he did it again. This is the Charlie Sheen doc that is currently 2 parts on Netflix right now. Who doesn't know Charlie Sheen? Winning, amongst many other things that he was had accomplished in his career. And I bring on my good friend, Andrew Freed. Andrew, what's going on, man? How did you get involved in this one? I love that. That's always my first question to you is, how'd you get involved in this one?
It's a good place to start. It's great to see you, Kristian. Really always look forward to doing this. And at this stage, I'm just trying to produce things that will be worthy of you inviting me to be on your podcast. That's really,
I like that. We got to find more.
To engage with your community as honestly as I have now for a very long time. It's a very cool thing. This morning when I was walking in here and sort of running, because I was about 2 minutes late, but I saw somebody and I said, I'm going to do Kristian's podcast. It's just, anyway.
I love that. That's
great. You could include that in your edit or not, but I sincerely feel that. I like being here. Anyway, how do we get involved with Charlie Sheen?
Yes.
We went after him. I work with a filmmaker named Andrew Renzi, who is the mastermind and creative visionary of this entire project. We made Pepsi Where's My Jet with him.
Yeah. Does he come to you and say, hey, listen, I've been thinking about doing this? Or you guys randomly in a conversation started talking about Charlie Sheen? Like, what's the conversation with the two of you that brings up, hey, let's go after Charlie?
I think the beauty of working with people over time, and in Renzi's case, to call him Andrew would be pretty funny. In Renzi's case, we have an exclusive deal with him. His company is North of Now. Boardwalk has an exclusive overall deal with them. And because when we worked with him on Pepsi Where's My Jet, we knew that there was magic happening, and the opportunity to sort of lock in and give him and his somewhat younger company what they need to like do all the things that they dream about doing, quite honestly, is like the biggest thrill of this whole life that I've carved out for myself. And so he sat down, we talk, over time, over weeks, over months. Coming out of Pepsi Where's My Jet, there's almost an instinct, I think, to forensically understand why it was the success it was. Pepsi, that project got really big numbers, got a big response. It was creatively cool. It was, it was different, right? And candidly, and I've said this to Renzi, like, given the topic, given the 5-minute sizzle reel that was made for that project, the Pepsi project, he made I call it a movie even though it was a limited series, but he made a movie that is not the movie I would have made. Like his creative lens is very different than mine, but it's very pure to him. Like I believe it's not shtick. I believe it's how he sees the world and how he wants to tell stories and how he connects with his audience, and it's frenetic and it's different and it's younger and cooler than me, also. And so over time, you're talking about like forensically, why did that work, and what do people want, and what does the marketplace want, and you know, we were also he was an executive producer on our Paul American series. He had really
Okay.
made that happen, and so in the spirit of just like big, right? Everyone wants big. What's big? What would be killer? What could we go after? And he says, you know, I'm gonna try to do a film with Charlie Sheen, and it took him months of first getting initial contact with Charlie, and then convincing someone who said thank you, but no, like,
Oh, he said no right away
oh,
initially.
yeah,
Okay.
no, he was not interested in that.
Yeah.
And I think what Renzi's appeal, and you know, he would tell the story better than me, but I think what Renzi's appeal to Charlie was not that like it's going to be this confessional, we're going to make you it was not like a 2025 conversation about brand and a confessional and a reintroduction. I really don't think it was any of that. I think Renzi convinced Charlie, and he's right in this, that you're the last one of this. Like, there will never be another Charlie Sheen. If you watch the film, you'll see all the reasons why, but like in a modern world, there would be no way for a Charlie Sheen to ever exist again.
No way. No way.
And most of the things that he encounters in his life, anyway, so for better, for worse, or indifferent, I think they headed on this journey together a few years ago. Well,
Okay.
no, still just a couple of years ago.
Now, had Charlie written a book at that point, or was it afterwards?
I think that the process of writing a book was happening all at the same time.
Okay,
So
that makes sense.
I first met Charlie in the summer of 23. Lindsay had been.
That's not true.
That's pretty good, Christian.
Tell the audience how you met him for the first time. Come on.
That's pretty good. So, once upon a time, Christian, I was doing stand-up at the Luna Park there on Robertson, and I got up one night and just must have utterly crushed with my witty banter and improv around topics like temping in offices or my bar mitzvah or sorry.
It's cutting stuff.
Yeah, or the ingredients in the new Wow Doritos. I know, it's good stuff. Anyway, so I was cast to play a role that I interpreted to be a French employee, maybe with the name Guy, but everybody on set insisted on calling me Guy.
Okay.
I was Guy. And I was on Spin City, and the significance of it and why I am trying to be, light about it, but it was a big deal for me. I got my SAG card. I was on Spin City, and it was Charlie Sheen's first episode on Spin City. He was replacing Michael J. Fox, who had come out saying that he was sick and couldn't continue to do the show at that time. They were going to continue this franchise. They were going to move it from New York to LA. They were going to replace the main character of Michael J. Fox with a new character that is taking his job, and that was Charlie Sheen. And so it was a very high stakes day. For me personally, it was also like a day with Gary David Goldberg, who is an absolute hero of mine and has been since I was a little kid, for any number of reasons. And it was just a big day, and it was, and I did, and I've since shared this story with Charlie, and I've shared it in a way to like put a little bit out there to see if he has any recall of any of it. And
That
again,
time? Well, I guess he was sober at that point, right? So yeah, yeah.
well, and what you'll also learn if you watch the film is he does have a pretty vivid memory, right? And so like there are things he remembers, there are things he doesn't. But his first day doing Spin City is a day that he kind of remembers very vividly.
Sure.
And so it's not like he remembers me, though we did have moments that day. Because he didn't. This was a show that moved, and this was what he remembered as we were talking about it on my couch. But the show had moved together. All these people who had lived and worked in New York were now living and working in LA, and they had all just come en masse. And CBS Radford is a kind of cool set. If you've ever been there, like it's like camp. And when the sun's setting at just the right time of day over these like bunk-like buildings at the Radford lot, and the audience is loading in, like it really does feel like the camp play in the coolest way. Honestly, it's a very pure memory for me. So all these people from New York had come and are doing the show. It's Heather Locklear, it's Richard Kind, it's Alan Ruck. Michael Boatman, I think the other actor was. So there's a lot going on there, and they've all been making this show, and they've decided to keep it going. And Charlie Sheen shows up with what he would only describe as a tour bus.
Okay.
A massive fucking
Tour bus.
Yeah. Like we're all in these. I described it in these like nice little bunks. With like this is nice. We're just gonna like get out of the showers and we're gonna go. I say we. I was like, it was crazy that I was even there watching it. But they're all like, we're gonna go and then we're gonna make our little thing. And he has like Led Zeppelin's tour bus or like Metallica's tour. Like it's just this massive thing, and everybody's on their paper plates at catering. And anyway,
rock star.
As he explained to me recently. He got rid of the tour bus like a week later, and that ended up being a very positive experience, I think, for everybody. But that was the funny about that day. But yes, that is when I met Charlie Sheen.
Initially. So, I'll be honest with you, just because I know that story, obviously, because that's right around the time we started hanging out. And I was hoping when they showed that, because they talked about his first day, I was hoping that I was going to see that scene.
So it's funny because at some point very late in the project, I don't want to say the project was done, but it was very late that Renzi sent me a clip of me on Spin City, which means that he had it. I don't know when he had it, but the truth is he's not in that. Charlie's not in that scene.
Oh, he's not in that particular.
No, my scene, my awesome scene was with Alan Ruck. Boatman.
Okay, that's right. Okay, that makes sense then. All right, so you have that. That's probably also a good conversation to then have with Charlie, break the ice. So if you're
So where I was in the story was that I first met Charlie in the summer of 23, and Renzi had probably been into it already for several months with him, not making the film, but sort of getting to the starting line.
Yeah.
And now it's coming out in September, and it's a big success for everybody, I believe.
Yeah, and I think, and you and I spoke about it on the phone the other day too, and I think that one of the things that I think he's done very well was you see him all over the place right now, and he's really promoting it. You know, he's talking about it on Rogan, he's talking about these other things. He's getting the word out there, and it's interesting because I think it's, as a fan of Charlie Sheen, you're watching. It's something that John Cryer said that seemed like it was. It's like what Charlie goes through in his life. It seems like, and you guys document this inside of it, is that he does well, he succeeds, he falls into the pit, he comes out of it, succeeds again, falls into the pit, succeeds again. Is this the succeeds again? And are you guys, now that you have a relationship with him, afraid that he might fall into the pit again? It's
a great question. It's also the right question, right? It's like a grown-up's question, because this drug of Hollywood, even when you're sober, that drug doesn't quit, right? Like I was on a red carpet with Charlie Sheen last week, and it is an exhilarating thing to watch him, right? Like when I say I was on a red carpet with Charlie Sheen,
I know what you mean.
but exactly when I get there is when everybody like reloads the camera. Like you think people don't shoot on film anymore. You think that they're all digital, and yet at the exact moment that I walk up, everybody magically like opens the back of these cameras and needs to do something. But to watch him in that environment is to just be aware, at the very least, of all of the chemical things that are happening in someone's body as this is happening for them again. I think that if you were to ask certain people very close to him why they're not in the movie, I suspect that would at least be part of the answer, right? Which is to say, like, who knows where we are in the journey? And these are my words, no one else's word. But who knows where we are in this journey? And I'm going to be there regardless. So maybe I'm not supposed to be a part of this, which is not saying anything disparaging about the people who are in it. But, Martin Sheen is many years sober, very understanding of the journey that his son is on, and it's the right question.
Yeah, you can see it as a father. It's like, look, and I think you just summed it up. I'll be there for my son whenever he needs me, but I don't need to be on camera to do it. I understand that. That makes sense.
Yeah. That's just me sort of superimposing my fatherliness onto it, but.
Even if you didn't say that, that's what I would have assumed anyway, because that's probably the stance that I would take if that journey was going on continuously, especially when you cover. I remember vividly I was in college when the major thing that happened to him, where he was in the hospital and his dad made the statement and all that. I remember that very clear. And so when all that was going through the documentary, it's crazy to kind of relive it because you forget, just how big of a movie star the guy was. I mean, he was massive. I mean, all the stuff that he had done, and selfishly, I wanted 20 minutes on Major League. I wanted all these things. I would kill to see all the interview stuff, because I'm sure they talked about it at great length. But there's only so much you can put into 2 1.5 or 2 90-minute parts, which are still crafted together so well. Sean Penn, who I just saw in One Battle After Another, and I knew immediately that you must have been interviewing him while he was shooting this because of his haircut.
Again, that's a Renzi question, because Renzi spends time with all these guys, but yeah, that would make sense.
It's that flat hair, and it's like, normally I'd be like, what's going on?
The thing you're talking about, making it a 3-hour thing, right? Yeah. In the journey of making this, there's so many different versions, and there was a longer version, and the casualty of that, and I hope that Charlie and Renzi wouldn't be upset with me sharing it with you, but the casualty of that was a really cool part of the movie to me, which is, and many casualties, but this was the thing that I miss, which is there was a little bit more of the childhood, right? So there was a section about their childhood growing up in Malibu, and it tapped into the Chris Penn relationship more than I think we get to in the movie, or at least in the first part of the movie. And so that idea that, like, Chris and Charlie were the younger brothers, and Emilio and Sean sort of didn't take them very seriously, but they were making all these movies. And Chris really started bringing it on these movies that they were making, and the acting was getting real, and the movies were getting better, and Sean and Emilio sort of took notice of it, and then it got them all sort of going, and they all started making these movies, and there was like an energy to the four of them making these movies, and other people too, like, and then like you add Rob Lowe to some of them, right? Like, it's just like this community of people who were all at Santa Monica High School, like, making these movies, and then Chris Penn leaves. He one day on the quad, he's like, I'm going. So anyway,
they talked. He addressed. There was an address about the fact that Chris was in it more. I saw a quote from Charlie or something too, and I said they wanted in respect to Sean and other things too, that they were talking, they did mention pretty much that, how beloved he was to them and how creative he was. Are there things that happen? I think the audience is always kind of fascinated by this, as so am I. But when it comes to something like this and something obviously so personal to someone like that, are there times where he's like, you know what, I talked about that, but I know that I said everything's on the table, but I really don't want that in there? And does he have to be convinced because it helps the story along?
I'm a director of something. I don't want to talk to you before the cameras are rolling. Like, shake your hand and say hi. That would be true if I did your job too. Like, let's get on. Let's
Right.
do it.
Right.
Renzi approaches it in the exact opposite way. Renzi is really mapping out his relationship, his conversation over hours and hours of sessions with all of these people, so that when you
It's like a deposition almost.
Yeah, when you sit down and the cameras are on, it's not to say that there isn't any discovery, revelation, or surprises within that, but the framework and the trust has really been set again, and that's his process. To me, sometimes it's like, what? How many hours are you talking to these people without the cameras rolling?
Right.
But that's how he gets what he gets, and he's sort of like a sniper. When he gets in there and a camera's rolling, he really knows what he's getting.
Makes sense, because it's like it's an interesting process, because you're mapping it out and you're instilling trust there. It's not, we talked about this in the room. I'm not bringing up something that we didn't bring up in the room. We're bringing this up in the room like we did 3 or 4 times. Now it's on camera. You knew where I was going with it, and this is what we agreed to discuss. I get that. I think that there's something definitely where you're going to go down that road, that you're going to get it, and it's still okay. I'm going to map out everything. This will be interesting. I'm with you though too. I like the organic stuff sometimes when it comes out. Not to say that there weren't organic moments that happened in that, but I do like the unknown kind of. We didn't talk about what we were going to talk about today. It's just like let's just go. That's my style. That's your style, but clearly works for him, because he got a lot of great stuff out of Charlie, for sure.
But if we were doing the life interview, right, and going into like secrets and things that have only been shared in therapy, or
Right.
it might be interesting for us to map out, even just like no different than you would do a rundown for a show. Like, we're going to do this, and then we're going to move into this stuff, and then I'm going to do this, right? Like this, that's when we're going to hit this stuff, right? Like, even that guide is interesting, and I've never done that as an interviewer.
I've definitely have those blueprints to where, like, I know that, and it's almost
internally for yourself, but to share it with the subject.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, that's true. But hey, it clearly it worked, and so now it's out. It's doing well. It's getting a lot of buzz. Obviously, Roxy Stryer just covered it on the show yesterday. So what happens, do you think, now with you guys, with Boardwalk and everything? I would love to hear, if you can, what you're working on next. But I also want to know with Charlie, because a lot of times, sometimes someone will do a documentary. Oh, great, you talk about your past, this and that, and then good, it's great that you did that. It's therapeutic. He's the type of guy, he's probably going to wind up getting a big movie out of it, or he's probably going to wind up getting a show out of it. He probably already has. What do you foresee happening with Charlie Sheen after this?
More.
Yeah.
Right? Like, I still don't know what everybody's reaction is to it. I mean, you hit #1 on Netflix, and that's like a certain drug again.
Sure.
But it's a certain currency in this town and in this business that we're in. It's just about whether somebody believes in somebody and wants to put them in the head of whether a TV show or a movie. Are they insurable on a movie?
Right.
Those are conversations I don't have with Charlie. But look, we also produced this month Fit for TV, which is the doc about The Biggest Loser that was on Netflix. Big hit. I mean, massive hit for us and Netflix, and not without controversy, right? Jillian Michaels going on TMZ and everything else, like a whole lot of conversation around it. And I'm just waiting for the announcement that The Biggest Loser is coming back.
Right.
Because now it's out there. It's back in the zeitgeist. Everybody's talking about it, and you know, that's not crazy. And so,
you're right. It's like one of these, like, oh yeah, because look, there's so much on television. There's so much in the movies that you, to nobody's fault, you forget about things. You go, oh, Charlie Sheen. I like Charlie Sheen. How come he's not in stuff? And then it's just a reminder of like, oh yeah.
Yeah, and there's a certain nostalgia to people like that. I think Charlie has pointed out in his press tour how old his father was when he got the West Wing. And
he did,
And it's about the same age. And to think that Martin Sheen, everything of Martin Sheen pre-West Wing, and then this West Wing was this whole reimagination of who he was for this country, you know, and for a whole generation. And so...
You know what it is, Andrew? You know what it is. I mean, you just had Naked Gun and Top Gun Maverick. Hot Shots Part 3 is right there. It's right there.
I wish that was my franchise, because that is the right idea. Seriously, right?
He's like, because literally the story of Top Gun Maverick is him years later coming back, and you have Topper coming back after, you know, years upon years, and you could play and a lot of jokes. And especially if they do it the way they did the new Naked Gun. That could work.
I think his most natural environment, if you asked him,
comedy, right?
I don't want to speak for him, but I think if he were around a baseball field, like, man, the major league writers should be writing something, because if he were around a baseball field, he'd be a very happy guy.
Oh, man, having him have Ricky Vaughn as a manager or something would be amazing. All right, before I let you go, so I always ask you this on the way out. Boardwalk, what's the latest? What's the next big project that we're going to be talking about next?
You know, I should have been prepared better for that answer. We have a lot of stuff that we're working on, and yet we were building to this Charlie Sheen release for so long that I don't even know what my release schedule is right now. But look, we're very proud of the ongoing nature of our series, right? We're in production on another season of Welcome to Wrexham. We're in production on another season of America's Sweethearts, the Dallas Cowboy Cheerleaders. As we look back over the last, I think, like month and a half with America's Sweethearts and Fit for TV and AKA Charlie Sheen, it's 3 #1 titles on Netflix and a couple of categories there, and that's exciting. And you know, we won a few Emmys last week for Welcome to Wrexham and for Chef's Table. We won our first Emmy for Chef's Table in our history.
That's crazy. The first one. Congratulations, obviously, but that show should have gotten it a long time ago. But that's great.
It's one of those. But you know, for original music, which was cool, that our first Emmys for that. Yeah, it's more. You know, keeping going what we've been lucky to be doing, and then I'll share the announcements with you when we can.
Please, the empire continues, and as I tell everybody, you got to really go and check out. Just go ahead and check out Andrew Freed on IMDb, and you look at all the stuff that he's done. I told you I was getting texts from people going, "Oh, you got to check out this Charlie Sheen doc," and people who know you, I'm like, "Oh, that's Boardwalk's project." And they're like, "Oh, that's great," because everybody's watching it. So, and there's so many different projects you've done like that, and I can't wait to see what you do next. Andrew Freed, ladies and gentlemen, it's always a pleasure having him on the show, and we'll have him on really soon.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Kristian.